Boston Bruins forward Jake DeBrusk has reportedly rescinded a trade request that was made public late in 2021. On today's episode of Locked On Boston Bruins, I'm going to talk about what that means for General Manager Don Sweeney as he continues to plan for his offseason maneuvering. Let's get into it, shall we?
You're Locked On Bruins, your daily podcast on the Boston Bruins. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Bruins fans, and welcome back to the Locked On Boston Bruins podcast. I'm your host, Ian McLaren, and this is a daily show where we discuss all things Spoked B, as well as take a look around the NHL. I want to thank you so much for making Locked On Bruins part of your day, free and available on all podcast platforms, as well as on YouTube. Search up Locked On Boston Bruins on your favorite app. Hit that subscribe button. Each new episode will be automatically added to your feeds for you to download, listen, and enjoy. If you could also rate and review, that would be so very much appreciated. On Twitter, you can find the podcast at Locked NHL Bruins, same handle on Instagram, and you can find me, my dad jokes, and hockey tweets at Ian C. McLaren. Today is Tuesday, July 5th. I hope you all had a wonderful long weekend celebrating Canada Day or the 4th of July. And we are back here talking about the black and gold with only a couple days to go before the NHL Draft. The Bruins, of course, do not have a first-round pick. They will be making their first selection on Friday in the second round. The big news on Monday is that Jake DeBrusk reportedly no longer wants to be traded by the Bruins. TSN's Ryan Rishaug out of Edmonton, from where DeBrusk hails, first reported on Monday that DeBrusk's agent, Rick Vallette, spoke with GM Don Sweeney last week and rescinded DeBrusk's long-standing trade request. This was confirmed by Steve Conroy of the Boston Herald, among others. No reason was given for DeBrusk's change of heart, but it doesn't take a Charlie Day, Always Sunny in Philadelphia meme to connect the dots between the Bruins making a coaching change and DeBrusk feeling a bit more comfortable remaining in black and gold. Now, it's not as simple as 2 + 2 = 4, meaning Bruce Cassidy replaced by Jim Montgomery, therefore DeBrusk wants to stay. It's not also as simple as DeBrusk requested a trade because he wasn't a fan of Bruce Cassidy. But it should be noted that the trade request was made public after Jake DeBrusk was a healthy scratch late in November, after the coach called out a failed back check by DeBrusk in a loss to the New York Rangers in the Black Friday game. We all know Jake DeBrusk struggled through the last couple of seasons. Last year, just 5 goals, 9 assists for 14 points in 41 games in the COVID-shortened season. All throughout the pandemic, the bubble, DeBrusk had been open about his not only physical struggles as a result of COVID-19, but also mental health struggles as a result of lockdowns, isolation, not being able to have a kind of regular interactions with teammates, family members, what have you. So that all added up and bubbled over with the trade request. to both Cassidy and DeBrusk's credit, they were seemingly able to work things out, or at least coexist, as DeBrusk played some of his best hockey during the second half of the season after earning a promotion to play on the top line with Patrice Bergeron and Brad Marchand. He moved from his offside to the right wing, finished with 25 goals, 17 assists for 42 points. He was moved to the right side last season. Didn't quite work out because it was, third, sometimes fourth line roles that he was playing. He flourished in the top six, as he should, playing with Marchand and Bergeron. As the trade deadline approached, there was speculation that they would find a deal for DeBrusk. Don Sweeney was not able to, find a suitable return, or one that he found palatable at the very least. There was also some uncertainty with regards to DeBrusk, set to become a restricted free agent this summer. What would the cost be? What would the term be? So in order to make that a bit easier on potential suitors, the Bruins signed DeBrusk to a 2-year, $4 million per season extension on trade deadline day. Still decided to hang on to DeBrusk. He finished out the season, and now he has decided he wants to play out that 2-year, $4 million per season deal with the Boston Bruins. If he can replicate that 25 goal output, that would be pretty good value for Jake DeBrusk. He's still only 25 years old. Went through a rough stretch. Hopefully, the 25 goal DeBrusk is what we can expect. 20, 25. Could he hit a 30 goal ceiling? Even more, that would be unreal on a $4 million cap hit. And there'll be an opportunity for him to start the season in a pretty prominent role, with Brad Marchand expected to be out until around Thanksgiving. Therefore, DeBrusk Hall will be on the left side in the top six for the Boston Bruins, to begin the season at least. Still, just because he rescinded the trade request doesn't mean that he's not a candidate to be moved. And we're going to talk about what the implications are for Don Sweeney in light of this trade request rescinding here in a moment. But first, a quick word about Built Bar. From the people who invented healthy and tasty comes the latest gift for your taste buds. You've probably tried the amazing coconut brownie chunk Built Bar, but guess what? Your friends at Built have given coconut brownie chunk the Puffs treatment. That's right. The flavor you love is now available in a deliciously chewy marshmallow covered in 100% real chocolate, like a fluffy cloud of coconut brownie goodness. The reality is they're good for you too. Low calorie, low sugar, high protein, and straight up delicious. They're only here for a limited amount of time. Go to Built.com right now to make sure you don't miss out. Don't forget, all Built Bars are made with a collagen protein that your body absorbs more efficiently, provides tons of health benefits. Eat something that tastes good and is good for you. Go to Built.com right now. Use promo code LOCKED15 to get 15% off your order. That's promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at Built.com. I want to thank you so much again for making Locked On Bruins your first listen every day. Of course, the NHL Draft is right around the corner, and our team of local hosts and draft experts breaking it down with insights and analysis for every first-round pick. The Bruins don't have a first-round pick, but you can tune into YouTube, various Locked On NHL channels, to get immediate reaction to their picks. Subscribe to Locked On Bruins on YouTube for all the latest breakdowns and live reactions on the NHL Draft. The Bruins have the second round pick that I'll be sure to break down, and you can expect more as well. So, Jake DeBrusk rescinding his trade request, and he will now enter next season as Boston's fifth highest paid forward. That's with the belief that Patrice Bergeron will sign a low base bonus-laden deal. But right now, David Pastrnak, Brad Marchand, Taylor Hall, Charlie Coyle, the only Bruins making more than DeBrusk's $4 million cap hit. The only Bruins forwards, I should say. Of course, Charlie McAvoy, Hampus Lindholm, Brandon Carlo, all making more than $4 million. On the defense, Linus Ullmark making $5 million. Nick Foligno, I should add, the next forward at 3.8, which is not ideal. Now, among those top 6 forwards, including Foligno, DeBrusk is the only one without trade protection. So just because he has rescinded the trade request doesn't mean that he isn't a candidate to be traded. No, I mentioned he's only 25. He is making only $4 million. And if they can get, 25 goals out of him once again, that could be pretty tremendous value for Jake DeBrusk. But having said that, because he plays on the left side, you already have Brad Marchand and Taylor Hall over there once Marchand is back and healthy. Do you put him back on the right side, DeBrusk, or do you try to flip him for help down the middle, some scoring on the right side, which they desperately need? That's a question that Don Sweeney is going to have to wrestle with here this offseason. Do you hope that 25 to goal DeBrusk is who he is? Or do you deal him kind of a position of strength and add where there are needs elsewhere? The Bruins are pretty deep on the left side, and they have some players coming up who could play there as well. Jacob Lauko could get a look there. Cameron Hughes in a depth role, although he is a UFA. Perhaps Georgi Merkulov could get a look there. Most likely, they're going to hold on to DeBrusk, hope that he gets off to a good start, show some consistency, and then once Marchand comes back, perhaps they'll explore that again so that the acquiring team would get him for the balance of this season and one more next season, after which he'll become a UFA. However you slice it, the Bruins are going to need to make some cap space if they want to add to this roster. At the moment, according to Cap Friendly, $2.383 million in current cap space. And although they will be able to put Marchand, McAvoy on LTIR to begin the season to free up some cap space, and therefore they can go over in the summer. They just have to have it set by opening night. You still have to deal with those cap hits once those guys are healthy. You can't just add say a Nazem Kadri reportedly wanting 8 to 10 million. You can bury McAvoy to add that cap space, but once McAvoy is healthy, then what are you going to do? You have to clear some space in order to activate him. This isn't a Nikita Kucherov situation where you can bring a player off LTIR for the playoffs at no cap hit. So do the Bruins keep DeBrusk and look to trade someone like Craig Smith, Eric Haula, Thomas Nosek, Chris Wagner, all of whom do not have trade protection? Or do they try to bury those guys in the AHL, go with some youth, see if Jim Montgomery can get the most out of these kind of players? Do they look to the back end to make a trade with Matt Grzelcyk, Mike Riley, Derek Forbort, all making over $3 million? Grzelcyk, Riley, of course, will be also injured to begin the season. Forbort emerged as a very, very good penalty killer in the playoffs last season. Hopefully they can get that kind of effort night in and night out. Zboril is ready to step up as well. So, yeah, these are some decisions that the Bruins are going to have to make. They don't necessarily have to trade Jake DeBrusk. Well, they never really did have to trade him. But you don't want a player in the lineup who doesn't want to be there. So now he's seemingly content remaining a member of the Boston Bruins. And Don Sweeney will have a decision to make now as to whether they want to still deal him to free up some cap space, to get a center or a scoring right winger, or if they will look elsewhere in order to try to improve the lineup, or do they just simply run it back with this group that played pretty well over the course of the second half of the season and try to incorporate some younger guys like Oscar Steen, Jack Stanika, perhaps Jacob Lauko into the lineup under the tutelage of head coach Jim Montgomery. But as it stands, it's kind of a to-do item that's off Don Sweeney's list, as he wasn't really under pressure to deal DeBrusk, but that situation seemingly settled for the time being. And hopefully 25 goal DeBrusk, 25 to goal DeBrusk is who we can expect moving forward. And that would be great value on a $4 million per year contract. Before we get to some news and notes from around the NHL, quick word about Rock Auto. With the ever-increasing numbers of makes and models, it's now impossible for your local chain auto parts store to stock all the parts you need. Why endure often pointless or seemingly intimidating questioning and wait while the person behind the counter orders the parts only available in their system? You can choose the brand and the part that you want specifically by using rockauto.com. They're a family-owned business, and they've been serving do-it-yourselfers for over 20 years. Their prices are always reliably low for every customer, and they have everything you could possibly need. Go explore their website today to find the solution for your auto parts needs. Go to rockauto.com right now, see all the parts available for your car or truck, write Locked On in their How Did You Hear About Us box so they know we sent you. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need at rockauto.com. Thank you so much again for making Locked On Bruins part of your day. You can now check out the Locked On NHL podcast, Locked On experts giving you daily 30-minute podcasts on all things NHL all year long. Stay up to date on everything in the hockey world with Locked On NHL, your daily 30-minute podcast. Now, I just want to clarify again that it's not a direct correlation between Bruce Cassidy being fired, Jim Montgomery being hired, and Jake DeBrusk wanting to remain a Boston Bruin. I saw a lot of people in my comments saying, oh, so Jake DeBrusk controls the coaching situation. No, there's some responsibility on him to, get right through the COVID pandemic, to take care of himself, to bring a full effort night in and night out, even if he feels the coach is singling him out, scratching him for a mistake here or there. Perhaps Cassidy was a bit heavy-handed at times, but still, professional athlete, grown man, you have to take that criticism and be willing to listen to it and grow. And to his credit, he was able to put his game together and have a pretty good season. So it's not, the Bruins replaced Bruce Cassidy because he couldn't get along with DeBrusk, say Jack Stanika. It's up to those guys to be professionals and to bring it night in and night out, no matter what is going on around them. Yes, we're all human. We all struggle. There are times when it's harder than others. There are times when it's not going to all come together. But at the same time, you can't ignore the reality that DeBrusk probably feels a bit more comfortable in Boston now that, there has been a coaching change and he found his game late last season under head coach Bruce Cassidy. COVID pandemic has been hard on all of us, and I don't fault DeBrusk for struggling from time to time, but through all that, you're a professional athlete, and you still have to bring it night in and night out, no matter what is going on. We all know Bruce Cassidy was a fantastic coach, and he got a lot out of certain players. Obviously, some players bristled this past season, and I do believe the Bruins got the best available candidate in Jim Montgomery, and hopefully some of these younger guys continue to grow and thrive under his tutelage. Now, to finish off today, a pretty cool story developing in San Jose, as the Sharks are going to name Mike Grier as their new general manager today. He'll become the first black person in NHL history to become the GM of a team, which is very, very cool. Grier spent 14 seasons as an NHL player with the Sharks, Oilers, Capitals, and Sabres. He was an assistant coach with the Blackhawks, Devils, and Rangers, and he was named the Rangers Hockey Operations Advisor in 2021. So very cool to see him hired on as a general manager. That's pretty much it for today's episode of Locked On Boston Bruins, my friends. I hope you are all having a great start to the work week if you were off yesterday, and that you all had a safe, happy, and healthy 4th of July. Later this week, going to look at some of the best second-round picks in Boston Bruins history, and look at as well who the Bruins might select with their second-round pick. I have a few guys that personally I would love to see them go after. Not sure if they'll fall to them in their selection. But yeah, we'll also have to see if Don Sweeney can make a move up into the first round. I would expect not. But, crazier things have happened, and we'll see what happens here leading up to the first round of the NHL Draft. Thank you so much for joining me today, friends. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And we'll talk to you again tomorrow on the Locked On Boston Bruins podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your favorite team every single day.